usually when you're born, I always think of your Thursdays as your awakening, you're coming to planet, stuff like that. Wednesday is when all things, I like Wednesdays. It's hump day for some people. But now, were you born in Santa Barbara?
New York.
Now, Joseph Bottoms was an American actor on Blind Date Break. Now, he was born in Santa Barbara.
Oh.
Isn't that funny? But
yeah.
And he was born the same day you were. Now, April 7th, U.S. Dwight D. Eisenhower's news conferences on the domino effect of communism. Bell Labs announced the first solar battery made from silicon in April 25th. But I don't see anything on 22nd on April. But all those things were going on around you that year, and pretty good time. Now, you, with your birthdays, I wonder, with you being a zodiac Taurus, do you feel like you're different from most people? What is that drives you as a Taurus?
I am different. I mean, no, I'm different because I have visions. I'll be sitting in a chair, and like I had a vision the other day, and it came in like twirling, the vision. It was like going down a tunnel, and then I saw this beautiful being. Oh yeah, he was beautiful.
These are fifth dimensional traits. Yeah, I was wanting to go positive about that, so I'm glad you called in on your personality traits, because that is typical of you being an earth sign, that, you know, your ruling planet is Venus, but you're going to be picking up the fifth dimensional, what people call the rapture. So people are dreaming about it, seeing it, having full-blown visions. And so you're the first one that mentioned that, but thank you for that. That's a good share. So what else did you see? I'm having those too.
Okay, he was the most beautiful man I'd ever seen in my life. The royalty there, that he was from the kingdom of God. I felt it. I mean, it wasn't just seeing. I could feel it also. And I didn't want to talk to him because I was afraid he would disappear. So I smiled with my lips, and he kept smiling, and my heart was beaming. And it was the most beautiful encounter. Like, I felt the love, everything. And it's like I will be with him again. And then I felt this enormous joy in my heart. It was unbelievable. And then that was the end of it.
Wow, I've had that same dream, but I don't know if I saw the same person, but I've also had an out-of-body experience where I was taken out of a dream and went up. And I didn't know how to tell people, but it's on this radio show somewhere it felt like Jesus to me, or the person that you would think is the most powerful immortal that we call Jesus, but people think we're out of our heads because we weren't living in the time that they lived. But it's whatever one in our mind and our filters, in our consciousness and our awakening thinks of that pure, I guess, other self, or like your soul, other self, or your mirror. But that feeling, I mean, I knew it was a male. I knew it was like the most powerful, but sweet, loving, kind. And I was scared to do anything too, because I got that feeling that they'd send me back, because when I saw this person, now in the dreams, that energy is like the fifth dimensional vortex. We had spin up and spin down before we had heaven and earth, and it was covered with the waters, but it was the actual centrifugal force in learning about how to control gravity when they were terraforming earth. And I believe that a lot of us in our fifth and sixth dimensional selves waking up into our soul is the fact that we're gaining the experience of our past lives. And that gives us understanding that we weren't always just a human, you know, that we're like the physicians of the mortal self. So I don't know, but metaphysicians is the best word. Now, they say that the metaphysics is the ontology of our foundations of ontology. Metaphysics is the branch of philosophy that examines the fundamental nature of reality, including the relationships between mind and matter, between substance and attribute, and between potentiality and actuality. So, you know, this is what we do here, folks. So I hope, you know, that you're secure, that you're a metaphysician and an expert in our student of the branch of philosophy that deals with first principle of things. Now we have epistemology, ontology, ethics, and philosophy we study. But if you want to come and join us sometime, feel free, or come join or ask for a mini reading. But, investigating ourselves in our dreams is terribly important. And I believe that Suzanne may come back on Thursdays and help us. She's a dream reader. And
this wasn't a dream, though. Teresa, I was wide awake.
You had a daydream.
No, I don't know, but it came in
vision.
Like it was right there, a vision right there in front of me. My eyes were wide open. Yeah,
that's what I call contact. That is like being a contactee with an extraterrestrial being, but they're more glorious than yourself.
Yes.
Could you feel that feeling of being around? It's more, I can't explain it. It's not more knowing than you. It's love, compassion, all knowing.
Yes, but
it's
I
like
also
we
felt
learn.
the kingdom of God. I felt the kingdom of God there. This was royalty that came to visit me. This was of a higher plane. And he was in robes, too. He was in robes,
wow.
No beard. Most beautiful face I'd ever seen in my life. It's going to be hard now for me to meet someone because of this encounter.
Because of this supreme being energy. Well, no, that's important that you know that, and that it's okay to have this part of you. You're recognizing your higher self and your senses with your own filters and your mind and consciousness. And we call that part of the awakening. You've heard, are you awake? So that is part of your awakening. Had you had anything like this happen before?
Well, yes, I did. It was about 30 years ago, and this was unbelievable. I was visiting these people in Arizona, I think it was, and I went into the house, and I was in a room, and there was somebody there, but all I could see was a lantern. It was a burning lantern, and then I fainted, and then I woke up later. I was on a bed. Somebody, I don't know if they called the doctor or whatever, they were holding my hand. I didn't ask any questions. I should have, holding my hand. But during that, same thing. I went through a tunnel. I didn't know if I was inside or outside of myself. I went very, very quickly, and then I communed with God. I felt the love. I felt myself being adorned in all these jewels. And then I woke up, and I saw something leave, and I put my hand out, and then the person sitting next to me took my attention, took me to the hospital. I was fine. And he said, when he drove me back, he said, do you know, I didn't ask any questions like what happened to me or whatever, but he goes, did you know that everyone in that hospital loved you? And I didn't say anything. I guess they picked up on the energy because I had communed with God or Jesus or someone. Then about 3 months after that, I was at a garage sale, and I pick up a book called The Dark Night of the Soul by St. John of the Cross. And everything in there was the same as what happened to me. So it's the different steps that you go through, your soul goes through, and it just happens that in this lifetime, mine went through that step, which was like the highest step that you can go as far as your soul. Yeah. So it was interesting. But and then I'll have times where I'm walking on the beach and I'll feel this unbelievable glory, sacredness, and I'll just like fall down on my knees just all this stuff happens. I don't know. I've had a lot of experiences. Yeah.
Well, that Dark Night of the Soul, 16th century St. John of the Cross. Now, did you buy the book or did you do Audible?
No, I found the book at a garage sale. And then a lot of these priests or nuns or whatever, they go through all this trying to learn how to do it. But I saw the backup in a book that I had already done it. I already did it. It's not like I have to study.
San Juan de la Cruz? Is that it? The Dark Night of the Soul?
Dark Night of the Soul by St. John of the Cross. It's a hard, you can't find the book anymore. It's about 450 pages. I've tried to order the book, but they don't release the book anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
The constant simultaneous succession or recurrence of certain distinct similar phenomena. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll have to the universal soul, the body soul, becoming the divinity. When, how did you feel? You feel like that's part of your intellectual light?
What do you mean by intellectual life?
Intellectual light. Logical, they say our soul can't think, but we're in an awareness. So we have to learn how to teach our initiates. And the dark night of the soul was used in the Eleusinian mysteries back in what they call the divine doctrine of Orpheus. So that was in the wisdom of the Kabbalah for mystics. Are you familiar with the science of? Well, yeah, because the science of love and how they use the philosopher's stone of the alchemists, the fifth quintessence, is what we're also sharing now in this fifth dimension. So you're just feeling the solution of what you're doing in your what they call continuity. You're in your soul. So, how you using the teachings of other philosophers, or did you just happen on this book? Because that's pretty heavy.
I just happened on it. I've always liked religious. But I just happened on it, so I was meant to find that book. But then,
well, the Kabbalah, the doctrine says the kiss of love is the rapture of when your soul. And Nathan was wondering about his rapture. A lot of people think the rapture, depending on the words, that unite you with a feeling, but you got the kiss of love. That's the rapture of the soul united with God. So that's the name for what you felt. It's it's hard to explain. So that's just what they call it.
Unbelievable. I mean, there's no words really to explain it. It's like you're in a wine cellar. It's like it's an old love. So I think that maybe in other lifetime I must have been a nun or something, trying to get to that point. I think that's what I think.
That's a good illumination. Yeah, you were probably a saint yourself, because they had the church founded back in the day of Rome, and we were talking about that earlier. The ruins of the faith and the antiques were thought of a lot of how they would keep them mentioned, yet there was no preservation for the true myths and legends unless we put them into words. But you can't interact with that thought love of the bosom, or how they use the Magi, the secret wisdom of the Magi, and the Kabbalist of the Mother Mary, and how could you ever explain something of the love? You can't. So they called it the kiss of love with God. But they had that back in the 12th, 13th, and centuries, and they didn't know how to say it, So that's the Templars of the Holy Cross, and we're still talking about the Philosopher's Stone, and how we're handling the fifth quintessence and the fifth dimension and women. And this is supposed to be a time for the knowledge coming forth for women and the rapture and the initiated. So this is a time for God himself, right, in his own adepts, helping people like you and me with the Spirit, knowing who we are in what they call secret science. But the Christians and the Buddhists are initiated, and they have the mythology of metaphysicians and the secret wisdom. But they do call it the science of love.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, they had, women.
Soul. It was a purging of the soul, and that's why when the lantern, the fire made me faint, and it was a lantern of fire that I did see, and then everything became very hard and stiff, and then and that's what happens. It's almost like a cleansing of the soul when your soul is purged like that, and that's what happened. I mean, yeah, and you do faint too, which I fainted because I found myself on a bed.
Well, St. Paul, St. John, the one you're talking about, St. John of the Cross, and St. Teresa, who was an initiate, and I'm named Teresa. That's my name. But the church knew how to, in a way, to, fix the purposes, but they couldn't teach the instrument powers. So the Gnostics had psychology. They divided men into three classes: hylic, psychic, and pneumatic. They changed it by matter, body, and form. So, did you read any of that in that book?